Hey YouTube. Today I'm trying out a new external battery pack. You've probably seen this particular rig before on my videos, and that is the QSC CP8 paired with the Bose Sub1. A very simple system, but quite loud for its size. And I can compare this to many column array systems, and this might be the ticket. A little louder. This is not a Bluetooth speaker though. It's a little older technology. You can always add a Bluetooth remote control to it. But in today's situation, I'm hardwiring it to a phone for the sound test. But let's focus on the task at hand, and that is the power supply. I've been using this power supply on the left called Buden's, and it powers the CP8 with no problem. It's a really good unit. I've had it for a number of years, and it's very popular. I got it on Amazon, a lot of good reviews. And again, it doesn't have any issues powering the 1,000 watt CP8. Now you're probably saying, how can something so small power a 1,000 watt unit? Well, I believe the CP8 doesn't draw a lot of power. I'm not sure exactly how many watts it draws, but it's very minimal. So I got this new unit called the Grant Maya. Again, it has some good reviews on the web, and the fact that it has two AC inputs, I really like that, because I usually don't have just one thing to plug in. I might have a mixer, I use a drum pad, so the more AC inputs, the better. Going back to the Buden's, it only has one AC input. So in the past, when I did use it, and I wanted to use a mixer, I had to bring another piece of gear, a power strip, and that's just one more thing. I'm trying to get as few pieces as possible when I go out. Let's talk about some specs. The Buden's is 150 watts. That means you can't power anything more than that. That's the maximum. And it says 166 watt hours. I'm not really sure about those two figures. I go by the watts. It's $130 and it's 5 pounds. Super light. And like I said, it's made of hard aluminum, and it's lasted, it's very sturdy. I'm very happy with the Buden's. But something new on the market called the Grant Maya. It's pretty recent. I haven't really seen it before. It's a little more expensive. It's at $180, so it's $50 more. It's at the same 5 pounds. I like the form factor where it lies down on its side. I like that feature. It's 300 watts, so that's a huge difference, isn't it? So we're going from 150 from the Buden's, and the Grant Maya is 300 watts, and it has 220 watt hours. So that's the story. I also like the fact that the Grant Maya has rubber flaps that protect dust from getting into the electronics. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So there the rubber flap is held open, and there you have your 4 USB charging ports. But I like the fact that the AC inputs and the 4 USB are all covered for dust, mud. That's a good feature in my opinion. Has a nice battery indicator, couple of lights, go up to 100%. Of course, it's not like the more expensive units that are digital readouts. Those usually are quite a bit pricier. So the goal of today's test is to see what can power the Bose Sub1. Obviously, a lot more power is needed to power a subwoofer than a small top, an 8-inch top in this case. So I did give it a try. I plugged the Sub1 into the Buden's, and it was pretty shocking. I heard like a screeching noise. It was like an alarm. I believe it was coming from the Buden's, not from the Sub1. So I shut it off immediately. That was the end of that test. So the Buden's at 150 watts cannot handle the 480 watt Bose Sub1. That's for sure. I'm not going to even try it again. So today's test is, can the new higher powered Grand Maya, which is 300 watts double compared to the 150 watts of the Butins, can it handle the QSC CP8 and the Sub1? I've never done this before. I'm a little leery about doing this. I don't know if it can handle it. It's, like I said, it's a 300 watt unit. I know the CP8 doesn't pull a lot of watts, but the Sub1 is a different story, especially if you're trying to get some loud volume dBs out of a subwoofer. It's drawing power. So I'm not even sure I should do this test. I'm a little leery. We're talking about an $800 subwoofer. I believe it's still under warranty though, but I really don't want to blow it. So, but for the sake of YouTube, I think I'm going to try this. Here we go. So the CP8 is already plugged in. We got our power light on. I've already tested it. It's working fine with the new power unit. And by the way, today is the very first day I'm even using this power supply. I just got it yesterday in the mail. So here is the test. I have both plugged into the Grand Maya, 2 AC inputs. First input is the CP8, and the second input is coming from the Bose Sub1. So right there is my power switch, and that's the test right there. I do have my level all the way down. I don't want to send a sharp spike into the sub. That wouldn't be healthy for the sub. So I have the power at 0. But the test is, when I press that power button, what's going to happen? If it's too much wattage, a couple of things can happen. One, the Grand Maya, hopefully it has some kind of protection and that unit will shut down. Or two, something could happen to the Sub1 if a electrical spike goes through it. Again, I'm not an electrical engineer, and so I'm giving this a test. So when I press that power button, if you see lights come on and you don't hear any screeching noises like I heard from the Butins, that means we have power, and it's probably going to work. Here we go. I'm kind of shaking right now. I'm not sure. I hope this works. I hope I don't blow anything up. Here we go. I don't believe it. We have power. That new unit, 300 watts, is powering. I don't see any red lights on, warning lights. So we are powering the CP8. It's up at Unity. I have a XLR out, sub out. I have the DSP at default, exterior sub, going into the Sub1. I'm going to bring up that level, and we're going to do a sound test. Again, I'm not going to push it, because I'll tell you right now, I've done other tests with other power units more powerful than 300 watts, and the sub will shut down if it's being asked to push too much. So I'm not going to go anywhere near red. I'm just going to try to get some nice subwoofer sound, and if I can do that with one power unit, this test will be a success. Forgot to mention that super short speaker stand. It's from Sunburst. It's not cheap. It's an expensive little unit, but it folds up into a little bag. I have made another video about that. If you're interested, I'll put the link down. But I love that small stand. It's pretty unique. Okay, we're ready for the sound test. I will have a dB meter out. I'm hoping to bring that sub up to about 12 noon. That's where it sounds. That's where I usually use it. It sounds the best integrated with other speakers. Like I said, the QSC does have a DSP setting where it has a sub out. So I'm sending the highs to the QSC and the lows are going to that sub. And let's see here what kind of volume I can get. And I got my fingers crossed nothing is gonna power down or any kind of power spikes where damage happens. Hopefully not. Okay, here we go, a sound test. look at those numbers. 102.6 dB. My phone was only at 50% volume. The QSC was on unity gain, 12 noon. So it had all kinds of room. And I was able to push the Sub1 up to 12 noon. It probably could have gone higher. I didn't want to push it, but there was no indicator of distortion or any kind of red clipping. I am very, very happy. This test has been a 100% success. I was able to shrink my rig. The other power source I was using was a much heavier unit. It was actually about 11 pounds. This unit is 5 pounds. So, pretty interesting. So if you've watched some of my past videos, one of my goals is to try to shrink the footprint, get the most volume, the most performance from the fewest pieces of gear to do mobile, light DJ work, but mainly instrumental, outdoors. So that QSC CP8 is a 20-pound speaker, but it goes up to over 120 dB or something. It's incredible power. It's a 1,000-watt speaker. By the way, do not try this test if you have the K8.2 series. It's not going to work. That will shut down any small power, external power. You're going to need about 500 watts to run or more to run the K8.2. That's for sure. I've tried it. So, but this and the old K10, K8 is a 1,000-watt speaker. So this 300-watt unit is able to run it, and the shocker is it's also able to run the Sub1. I really am amazed that it's able to run both. I'm not going to push it to red. I can guarantee if you start pushing it or playing super heavy bass tracks, something's going to shut down. Either the power unit or the Sub1 will shut down. It has protection, and I really don't want to do that. I don't know if that causes damage. But this test has been a success. Super compact system with that stand. And by the way, the stand goes quite a bit higher. I just have it at its lowest setting. But that's called the Sunburst stand. You have your CP8 and a Sub1, fairly reasonable price rig here. And this setup probably is going to be in comparison to a column array system that's in the $1,500 range, but a lot easier to carry. Some people might prefer the column array, but to me, this type of system is going to have better bass than most column arrays, unless you go up to the column arrays that have the 12-inch subs. This Sub1 will outperform them. The CP8 will outperform 95% of the column arrays out there, unless you get into the higher price levels. So this is a very portable rig, very reasonable price if you look at the total price. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Bill. Until the next time, signing out.